Fresh from Pax East, we're joined by Sam Leichtamer.
Hey guys.
And the guys to talk about
the pits and peaks of Pax. Chocolate-covered prunes, good or really good?
Is Blizzard's Overwatch prime for esports?
The disadvantages of living in New York during the zombie apocalypse.
I'm Greg.
I'm Francois.
I'm Sam.
I'm John.
And this is the AwayCast.
My whole thing is not necessarily my well, I did come up with a plan, and I wasn't worried about zombies as much as I was worried about like a nuclear bomb.
I'm from New Jersey, and every time I come into New York, I mean, I love New York, but I always think if the zombie apocalypse was to happen, like right now, I would hate to be here. I'd be fucked.
Because
yeah, well, if you're in Manhattan, you are in big trouble.
If you are in Long Island, you're in big trouble.
Yeah. Well, I'm from Long Island, and I have come up with a plan to get out of Long Island.
Well, if you have a boat, you're okay, right, Craig?
My whole plan was, because we don't have a boat, but I would kill somebody easily for their boat.
What do you have to kill? What would you do?
I mean, I'm sure other people would be getting into their boats, and I'd pull up and I'd say, "Excuse me, sir, do you need help packing your boat up?" And as soon as he turns around, you know, just kick him. Yeah, just kick him right in the water.
You wouldn't kill him,
or shoot him in the head.
I think you already have a plan. Like who?
No, I don't know.
Like Old Man Clemens down the street. He's got a boat. He's the easy target, right?
Yeah, he does.
I have to interrupt and say that I would never have this problem in New Jersey. Like, I don't need to kill anybody for their boat. I can just hightail it to the woods.
But could you kill someone if you had to? That's an important question.
Yes,
you could.
I think I could.
I think
I've
so
imagined it before.
Yeah, me too.
You guys fantasize? You fantasize about killing?
But yeah, so I mean, and it also depends on the type of virus. Like, okay, what if it's the zombie virus that actually reclaims the dead as well? Because Queens is a graveyard. What's the name of that graveyard? It's
John,
in between Bushwick
you know the name of it, don't you?
I don't know. Why wouldn't
I pass it all the time.
You've lived here longer
than me. It's by Cypress Ave, right?
Yeah, it's huge.
It's gigantic. It's the biggest graveyard. And it lays right in between Queens and Brooklyn, and there are easily, I feel like, 1 million people in that graveyard.
Maybe even 2 million.
Maybe even 2 million. I think they're probably stacked 20 feet deep.
Yeah, they put just on top of each other. You know, I think they just put them right on top of each other when they run out of space.
So this is the thing. That was
my fault.
That's your fault.
That's my fault.
So here's the thing, zombies aren't that smart, and they're probably not going to be able to make it very easily to New Jersey. You got the water, you have the bridges. You know, how many zombies are going to be able to cross the bridge? It's going to be a very trickled flow into New Jersey.
Well, it'd be a choke point too to start taking them down as well, right?
These boroughs are going to be totally screwed. You guys are all screwed. You're gonna run out of ammo. There's strict gun laws in New York. Guns aren't easy to find. Ammo's not easy to find.
You're right.
You know? You're not going to be able to kill
a pistol for a while. You can't get one here.
It's going to be like Molotov cocktails just flying everywhere.
I've been thinking about my survival kit for a long time. I'd have a backpack. There'd be a pistol in it, some water,
3DS.
You know, you can't get a pistol here. It takes years before you can actually.
It does. So we're very unprepared for this. At least where I am in New Jersey, I can find guns and escape.
Well, we have guns, rifles. Though they're not as handy as a pistol, but I have, not here.
I think you're thinking way too much combat and less evasion. I feel like maybe the choke points could work to your advantage to kind of push zombies off of the bridges, or
if I was the president and the zombie apocalypse happened tomorrow, I would just hit the red button and blow up New York City.
Wow.
That's and that's more in line of what I'm scared of more. With Greg, New York's such a target for nuclear, whatever.
Yeah, when I first moved here, I watched a TED Talk about suitcase bombs. John, do you remember this conversation we had where I was I was freaking out. I was telling them, I was like, guys, we're dead. We're not going to make it.
We would be out having a good time, and Greg would have a few drinks, and out of nowhere, he'd be like, you guys have no idea. There's suitcase bombs all around this city.
They're missing 5 of them. The U.S. government can't find 5 suitcase bombs, and they're about the size of a suitcase, and they can destroy 10-mile radius.
We'd all be out having a good time, and Greg would be that guy.
A little crazy.
Have you guys heard about suitcase bombs? And everyone's like, oh no.
That's definitely not the way to kick off a conversation.
No, it's not. Well, I mean,
or right in the middle of it either.
Yeah.
This is what people that I wouldn't walk up to somebody and say, "Hey, Sam,
break the ice.
My name's Greg. Have you heard about the missing suitcase bombs?"
Well, I have it.
Oh, you have. Well, this is perfect because I know all about them.
Do you have 45 minutes?
I think that are there missing suitcase bombs?
Yeah, there are.
Okay, so if I had to guess where the missing suitcase bombs are, I imagine like one Secret Service member or somebody in the government probably just stole one, right? Like there's got to be like
possibly. Well, they were selling them. Well, they could have sold them during Cold War.
Okay, so they could have been sold. I feel like whoever created them was probably like, let me keep one of these for myself.
Oh yeah, maybe.
And not tell anybody. They'll never know.
Sure.
There's probably one somewhere in Kentucky.
We found there's one in Kentucky, so that's 3 of them.
Yeah, there's probably definitely one in Kentucky,
There's
like
2 more
somewhere.
left. Where's
The
last 2?
We gotta tell somebody. Sam knows, I guess.
One is definitely like on the Florida, in the Florida Keys, somewhere on the Keys, chilling with like
I could see
under
that.
a pack of Cuban cigars.
I could see that.
Yeah, one's probably in New York on like the top penthouse in some building.
What if I told you I have one?
Well, then that solves the 5th case.
That is the 5th one. It's in that closet right there.
We went to PAX last weekend, and
so let's talk about PAX.
Great segue.
It was PAX 2015, PAX East 2015. I don't know if Greg was going to bring up if there's suitcase bombs in Boston or what, but we had a good time. There was no suitcase bomb talk or anything, although it was freezing. I don't know what day you guys got in, but Thursday night we got in at what time, Francois? Like,
I would say about 11:30.
11:30.
I got in at 9, but I drove 8 hours. I mean, that snowstorm was crazy. I think it made it really hard for anybody who was, going to Boston from this
Why did it
area.
take 8 hours? Just traffic, or?
Well, I drove into the city from where I am, and it normally doesn't take that long. It takes like 15 minutes. But
do you take the Lincoln, or do you?
I took the GW, and
Okay.
the snow was so bad in the Bronx, like I couldn't. You had to drive like 2 miles an hour. So I finally it took me like an hour to get out of the Bronx, and then I went to Poughkeepsie to pick up 2 friends, and Poughkeepsie is in the middle of nowhere, New York.
So you honestly spent like most of your time in New York.
Yeah.
Which makes sense.
It took me from Poughkeepsie to Boston 5 hours because of rush hour traffic.
We shut up in about 4.5, right?
Yeah.
No, 3.5.
Yeah.
I would say.
That is, well, you guys probably left after rush hour.
Yeah, well, we left around 7:30, so
Yeah.
it's like right after rush hour.
I left at noon.
And what was great about going up there is I was with Francois, Greg, and Mike, our buddy Mike, and everyone was psyched, energetic. We were having a good time doing YouTube videos.
Francois had a wireless hotspot on his phone. I had my laptop, so we were able to.
Yeah, because
watch
sometimes
YouTube
it was pretty
videos,
fast.
and I was able to do some work. It was nice.
And let me just say,
Fancy.
the way home, I mean, we're jumping ahead here, but
Hold on, John. I heard you told Francois that we all slept on the way home.
No, you worked on your thing. Mike
I
and
worked on the video.
Francois slept on the way home.
I'm sorry.
Francois was blacked out, and every time I would hit the brakes, he would hit his head on the dashboard or on the side of the fucking door.
Was he like wasted? Like what,
No.
what was
No,
going
why
on?
did you do that?
Francois
to me.
doesn't drink. He had his mouth wide open the whole time, too. Just like,
Yeah, you
So
didn't put
he
that in the
was
video.
really tired.
Wait. So you were purposely, I'm assuming purposely, braking just so my head would hit the... I could have serious issues.
I'm not going to say I didn't do that, but there was a point where you were sitting in such a fashion that it looked like you might have been dead or sick because it didn't look natural. Like, you can't...
Like somebody help him.
Yeah, like there was a
Is
moment
he
where
okay?
Mike was sleeping, Greg was busy, and I was just like, should I move the car a little bit to make sure Francois is still alive? Because it was such an unnatural position.
it was like, I mean, people listening can't see this, but he was like...
Slouched over. Like, so imagine in the car, there's
So
nothing
he
to support
looked
you.
like like a crackhead,
Yeah.
sort of.
Or like someone who just had a heart attack. Like, that's what it looked like.
Thanks, man.
Well, no.
I
Like,
actually
I'm
just
really-
thought he looked like a nice sleeping person.
Why are you trying to scoring brownie points with Francois right now? I thought you looked like you were actually sleeping.
Listen, I was just trying to catch up on some sleep that I missed.
He
and
was
because
very
of PAX.
stressed out from his, PAX festivities.
Yeah.
PAX wasn't. I think we made it stressful on ourselves because
I don't think it was stressful at all. This PAX was way better. We did a lot less, but for me, this PAX was way better than last year's. And I
Yeah.
think it's because we were drinking the whole time.
probably.
Yeah, I was drunk for like 75% of PAX.
Yeah, I think we were drunk for like 95% of PAX.
Yeah.
I remember getting there Thursday night, and then Friday morning, the first place me and Mike went to was the bar. And we started the day off at like 10:30 in the morning with beer.
Well, first we did press hour before we did that.
Yeah, that's the only time we played any video games the whole weekend.
I actually skipped press hour because, you know, there's so much press there. It's like you go to press hour and you get to see like one or two things.
We played 2 games.
2 games.
Yeah, it's not really worth it. It's not really worth it when as press you can pretty much like skip the line to play games whenever you want.
You can. You kind of can.
To a degree.
You usually can, actually.
You don't want to be a dick about it, though.
You don't want to be a dick about it, but like, you know, for me, I'm like, let me skip press hour because there's only like so many games I want to see. There's only so much here that I actually need to physically do to cover. I'm really here just to enjoy myself.
Yeah. Well, that's what
Pax East is for me.
That's how last year was all about working for us. And last year we didn't have press, so we were kind of hustling like the entire time.
Yeah.
But this year it was kind of just about like enjoying being there and networking.
Well, I think a big factor for that was the fact that it was pretty desolate in terms of, you know, large publishers having a booth at PAX. I mean, last year Riot had a booth and they were predominantly had the attention because they had matches going live and they were giving away skins and all kinds of shit like that. And then Bethesda was blasting music last year.
Oh my God, the whole conference was just Bethesda's music.
And this year, I mean, with the exception of a small Nintendo booth, a small Final Fantasy booth, and Blizzard probably having the most popular booth, there was like, it was all about the indies this year, right?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. like there's not that much, so you could just hit your appointments and then kind of enjoy yourself the rest of the way. So and I think PAX East has become one of, like, its own thing where, you know, the indies really get to shine. I mean, I was talking to some of the PR people there and they were just saying, yeah, you know, we're here to show off our indies, but we're probably not going to go to Prime because Prime is just too much. You know, we're just going to get drowned out by the AAAs that show up there.
It seems like PAX East is the indie convention, and PAX Prime. It seems like it's too expensive for these AAA games to come all the way out here, and it's probably not even worth it.
Right.
Especially, it was the same week as GDC this year.
Yeah.
I think that's the real issue was GDC, but I also think that there's like, you know, you need to measure the success of your investments and where you're going to be making your impact. And I think a lot of these AAAs, they know that they're not going to be making their impact at PAX East and that their reach is going to, they don't need PAX East. You know, they have the reach and the brand awareness already. They don't need it.
Well,
so I think for the industry's sake, they look at it like, well, let's give these other guys like their thing.
It's also
let's
just
let them do it.
throwing money away.
You're just throwing money away to it. Definitely to a degree.
I think they said $150,000 for the weekend for the booths. We were talking
depending on size.
Cinema. You know, that's a lot of money, you know, for a product that people are already going to know about. You already have, you know, a huge presence in the industry.
Well,
you
Greg,
don't really need to be at PAX.
We had this conversation with Josh, right? We were saying that PAX East, like we were just saying, is becoming for the indies because it's open to the public. PAX. It's not E3 anymore. It's not GDC where, you know, you need investors to be looking at your stuff. Now you have
it was always about that. The whole Penny Arcade thing was always kind of like about the people and not necessarily about the developers. And that's why people still pack this place out with no AAA titles in the rooms.
But there's definitely a recession of information at PAX. Like PAX used to be a really big place for people to introduce news, even announce games. And now it seems like it's more of just showing demos. There's not as many, you know, big new things there. And it's because, like Josh and us said when we had our conversation, was basically that all these people are going to buy the games anyway because they're the fans. You know, they don't need to see anything crazy and new. They already, you know, go ahead.
Another thing is that, you know, we're right after the new, South
by Southwest?
No,
GDC?
I'm sorry. It's right after the last generation. Like we just, we have just entered a new generation. So it's like last year was the year of like consoles and the year before. So like now we're in that lull where there's still a lot in development.
Yeah.
So that's a really big thing. I mean, it's not that they don't want to announce things; it's just things aren't ready to be talked about.
Hype last year because everything was new. You know,
the
whole Evolve booth. Everything was like brand new, so it was really exciting.
WildStar was big last year.
WildStar. We got so psyched up about that.
WildStar.
Yeah, we played for like 2 months.
A month, 2 months. Yeah.
I think everybody did. Yeah. And then everybody
It was
stopped.
really solid for those 2 months, but then it kind of got boring, I guess, or too much to deal with.
It was an MMO, man. It didn't really introduce anything new.
Yeah.
So wait. So what excited us this year as far as games?
Well, this year, like you said, for press hour, Greg and I and Josh, we head straight to Overwatch, and I think Overwatch was definitely the crown jewel of the show for me in terms of AAA's, like indies aside. You know, it's a new Blizzard game. It's something to behold for sure. And saying that it's pre-alpha and it's already like completely playable and the most fun thing I played all weekend, it holds a lot of promise. So
I kind of had this theory that like Overwatch was already something else, and maybe they just kind of like revamped and remade it, because it was so crazy. It went from nobody knew about Overwatch, and all of a sudden it was like, oh wait, here we have like a game. It's like completely ready. We just haven't been talking about it.
Finished to play. Like, I mean,
it did. It felt very solid. Finished. Yeah. So I think that it's either been like a secret project that they've been working on, and they're like, in lieu of all the games that don't work, let's wait until this one does. And then
it makes you wonder though, because Project Titan was canceled. You know, like it makes you wonder what they were doing on that other giant multi-million-dollar project.
It's probably very feasible that it was recycled and turned into Overwatch.
Like asset recycled for sure.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I think Overwatch looks great. I think it's like Team Fortress.
Yeah, that's what it reminded me of.
Yeah, but better.
It
like,
was definitely better. Yeah.
Like Team Fortress 2, people love it and they still love it and they still play it, but it kind of got stale.
Yeah.
And I like the new direction of that genre. Like the characters are so fun and like quirky and interesting, and I think that was really cool.
I like the simplicity of the characters, but like the variety of characters. Right. You know, it was just like this character does these two things, you know, but you can't just play with a bunch of these characters. You have to make sure you have the right classes together. You know, you need to make sure you have your healer and your heavy gun guy.
Well, Sam, coming from like a League of Legends background, I mean, like it's obvious that MOBA elements have been, you know, taken by multiple other genres because of how likable it is, you know, like pick any character in League and then they have like 3 mechanics that are different from each other, but when they're used together, they can make a fairly complex character. Yeah. They're used in unison with teammates. Same thing.
It's like synergy, you know, character synergy.
Right. And, you know, the thing I like most about what Blizzard's doing with those characters, even in Heroes of the Storm, it's like they take really simple elements of the characters and say, like, here are your tools, like, play with them how you wish. So you take those things, and for instance, I played as Tracer. Greg, I don't know who you were the first match. It was
I started with the cowboy guy. I forget his name.
I said Graves because I thought it was League of Legends. Yeah, it looked just like him.
I didn't like him too much, but then I played with Pyrus or something like that. It's like the chick, like heavy gunner chick. I don't know.
Are you talking about Zarya?
Maybe Zarya.
No, it was PH something. It's like an Egyptian.
She had like a jetpack and like a rocket.
Did she have
launcher.
very short pink hair and she was very muscular?
I don't know.
No, that's one of the new characters they announced.
That's one of the new characters they announced at PAX East. I was actually just going to mention this because lately the game development industry has been under criticism for not making very diverse characters that are representative of the players. So Blizzard actually purposefully made Zarya, who's like this very muscular,
like an astute, heavy-set,
androgynous, looking female character, and it was a direct response to the criticism that the industry has been going under.
What's the feedback?
It's been very positive. I think that they were bold in being so blunt about how they were doing or what they were doing, and the feedback was very positive. I think that people, especially the critics, want to see that happen in an obvious way. So I think that was really cool of them. And
the cowboy type character you played, Greg, that was the other one that they announced for that weekend. I forgot his name. What was his name?
I can't remember the.
It's a very cowboy name. Yeah. It was like. Straight out of Red Dead. It was just silly.
I can look it up, but at the time I get to it, we're going to be on something else.
But anyway, I played as Tracer, and her abilities were basically like blink through the map, rewind time, drop a bomb, and something else. And when you use her abilities in unison during a firefight, like it feels so good. Like you feel like it's that first time you played Mirror's Edge and like you're running up a wall and doing a backflip, you're like, wow, I did that. You get that same feeling when you're playing as characters in this game, and everything was so responsive. But when we actually first started playing, Greg, we had a ringer on our team, basically.
Yeah, we got lucky. We had a guy who, I think he worked for Twitch. Him and his group all had the Twitch gear on, and he already knew everything about the game. So we completely annihilated the other team, only because this guy properly spec'd us out. He's like, I'm going to be the healer. I need a heavy guy. I need this. And we all knew
followed suit, yeah.
I mean, it was at the point where we were like, we
were destroying the other team,
shutting them out. They weren't doing anything.
So we started up playing basically a capture the point type thing, kind of like Rush in Battlefield, where we capture one point, we push the team back to the next point. They have to defend that kind of point, right?
Right.
And it seemed like he would constantly be telling us to check our corners, and he was just very, very vocal. So you immediately saw that like Overwatch is ripe for esports immediately. You have your team mechanics, you have your communication, and people were enjoying watching too, which I think obviously you have your formula right there.
What if he never played the game before? That's why he's at Twitch. He's so good. He's just really picked it up. Yeah. He's so smart.
I don't know if Overwatch is actually like good for real competitive play because, unless they continue to make a lot of characters, it's gonna fizzle.
Yeah, well,
otherwise you would see, because there are a lot of great games on Steam that are very competitive and have like that kind of potential, but they're not going to get there. I don't think that Overwatch or other games outside of like MOBAs and first person shooters are really going to have the chance to go and fighters really are going to have the chance to go esports yet until the other genres really, make it.
I mean, I'd like to see like these first person arena shooter style games become an esport just because they're so easy to pick up. I think it would be more people would get involved in esports.
There are so many people already involved in esports. It's hard to predict whether a game like Overwatch actually has the
like the staying power.
Yeah, the staying power. I don't know if it's a game that's going to be like as addictive as or competitive as some of the other games out there.
Right. Like that's something I mentioned in our other podcast was like, they have plenty more to show of it. Like what is the overall progression going to be like, outside of the characters, like the persistent progression, what that's going to be like, how's it going to keep people in the game? I think it's got the makings of something that could be a very fun, at the very least, competitive shooter. With your friends and stuff like that, but I think with a company like Blizzard backing it too, it's probably got enough clout to like push its way in as another company wouldn't.
But like Blizzard already has other games that have like massive scenes.
StarCraft,
yeah, well, and World of Warcraft, and which has competitive guilds,
and Hearthstone now too,
and Hearthstone. Which, surprisingly, Hearthstone has more spectators than any of their other games. That's what makes up esports. That's what makes them esports. They're competitive and people want to play them on a competitive level, but then they also have massive spectators.
Sure.
Like if nobody wants to watch other people play the game, they're not going to want to watch it. And that's what sets apart games like MOBAs and first person shooters apart, because when you can spectate a MOBA and you can spectate StarCraft and you can see, it's like looking down at the field. Mm-hmm. You can't look down at the field in Overwatch.
It's hard. Right. It's really hard to pay attention with what's going on.
So you're going to be screen watching like 5 players on a team, and it's not going to be the same experience, which is what sets those games apart.
I think it was even more than that. Wasn't there like 7 of us playing? It wasn't like 7 on.
It was 7. It was a 5-on-5, I think. Right.
Either way, there would have to be another way to spectate the game in order for it to gain viewership, and that's what makes that. So that's ultimately, I think, what makes esports. And until other games can really like do what they do the best, like there's no room for other games in esports.
Maybe they should, consider developing just spectator modes for these games, like, an over the top view for people to watch people playing.
I think that's where there's a conflict now, because when you're watching games competitively that obviously aren't as successful as MOBAs in terms of audience, you're watching the Halos and you're watching the Call of Duties and stuff. The fun is to see and Counter-Strike, obviously Counter-Strike Go. Yeah. To watch, like, you'd like to see the crazy shots, right?
Yeah. And Counter-Strike is big, but it's not nearly as big as some of the other games out there. I mean, it has a very like diehard like following, but like that's it. It's capped. It's skill capped. No new gamers are going to start playing Counter-Strike. Counter-Strike's going to die. I hate to say that to people who like love Counter-Strike and play it, but new gamers are not going to play Counter-Strike.
No, that's definitely, I definitely agree with that. We play CS. We used to play a lot when we were younger, and we pick it up once in a while now. We have a friend who is a professional, and we, occasionally for fun, we'll get together and play some matches. But I do think you're right. There's no like new marketing for this, and what they have on Steam, like the buying stickers and all that shit. I don't think it's really doing enough to bring in new fans.
All it's doing is perpetuating the people who still play it to keep playing it.
Absolutely.
And,
I agree.
Like, this is like the power in gaming media. Every once in a while, I think, man, gaming journalism, what a joke. And I say that, and I do that, and I am a gaming journalist. But
I say it all the time. I say it to them.
John's face.
When you actually think about it, if tomorrow we all stopped talking about Call of Duty, we just were like, hey, let's not talk about Call of Duty anymore. Let's just pretend that it doesn't exist. They're going to keep making games and they're going to keep trying to promote them. But us as the media are just not going to talk about them. Mainstream media is not going to talk about it unless, a teenager shoots up a school. And so if the gaming media doesn't talk about it, what happens is you stop introducing the game to younger players, new players. That's how they find out about what games to play. They read something on a website or on a forum or... Yeah, that's how I started playing new games when I was in middle school and high school. And if you just shut that line off, you you can actually destroy a game.
But it
would have to be in complete coordinates. Every website would have to stop talking about it.
I see what you're saying, and I think it would partially work, but an IP like Call of Duty has so much money, they'll just keep shoving shit down people's throat with commercials, television, movie, YouTube advertisements. There's no way we'd ever get away from it. The actual marketing media is, I think, for the most part, and there will always be journalists who will take a check to talk about something. Always.
Yeah, you're right.
Even if they're not specifically game journalists, if it's a TV network, if it's some kind of news agency, those people will always be there. So if you guys all shut up, I still feel like they'd find a way to get it.
Well, the thing is, it's impossible.
I think that
they're shut up.
they're like a big machine. So it's like a really, dramatic example. But
indies, you guys can easily destroy indies if you band together. But honestly, even bad press sometimes is good, because the fact that you guys weren't talking about something would be a big deal.
I think that bad press is more powerful than no press. I think that no press is the worst.
Oh yeah, of course.
For a game.
Yeah.
I mean, you look at, I'm going to spot this because I just did an article about Grand Theft Auto, but Grand Theft Auto made billions of dollars off of bad press, all bad press, no good press. Right.
We talk about GTA all the time just because, what we were promised from Grand Theft Auto 5 to what was actually delivered was kind of far from what was actually, what we thought we were going to get. And people still buy it and play it and post videos about it. And
well, there's a big difference between the active consumer and just the enthusiast casual consumer. I mean, where, like Sam was saying, where you receive your news, a lot of people are receiving it on the end that Greg was talking about, which is their television and their popular media. And then there's the media end that we're on, where we're trying to help people buy games and not buy games.
I think that people look at scores, like Metacritic scores, and I think that there are definitely a lot of gamers that pay attention to those scores. Do I think that Alien Isolation would have done better if it had a better score? Definitely.
Yeah, of course.
I mean, that game did not deserve the score it got, and I think that it actually did hurt it in the long run.
How did we get on this? I forgot all about this. What happened?
We were talking about competitive gaming.
Oh, and I was talking about esports.
Esports.
Back on track. I feel like it wouldn't be fair to not talk about Call of Duty either, though, because it's still a game.
What are you talking about?
I don't know. I feel as though going back to the Call of Duty thing, I don't know why we decided to collectively not,
because we're talking about competitive sports.
I think she just picked for an example. I don't think we're gonna stop talking about Call of Duty.
I don't think we're gonna stop talking about Call of Duty. I think Call of Duty is always going to be a relevant game as long as they're making more things for us to play. But I guess the reason I brought that up was because a game like Counter-Strike, I mean, there's not going to be another Counter-Strike, and gaming media doesn't really talk about Counter-Strike. I mean, when's the last time you saw something about Counter-Strike on, IGN or Kotaku?
I think the last time was when they introduced the whole buying cases and
just that little tidbit of
it's
a press
niche.
release.
No, you're right. It's become niche.
It's becoming niche. The average Counter-Strike player is probably 25 now.
Right, and you're right about the whole
I'd
bad
say even
press.
older than that,
possibly older than that. I would say maybe 28, 27. Well, that's the average Counter-Strike player.
You have popular games specifically League of Legends stuff. They're on a freight train right now, going 100 miles an hour, inclining. rising and rising, where like you have Dota 2's got the Invitational now, where people at like prize pools are in the millions, and it's hard. You're absolutely 100% right, Sam. Like it's impossible to say how something is going to fit in a moving train like that. It's impossible to fit.
It's really hard to guess how it's going to compete with something like that. And also just understanding why those things succeed.
Right.
And
it's timing.
Not trying to fit other games into that. It's really hard to compare, you know.
Well, either way, I think Overwatch as a game, standalone, esports aside or whatever it may be, I think Blizzard's onto something fun at the very least.
We should definitely mention Overwatch's third person friend, Gigantic.
Oh yeah,
which is basically in my mind third person Overwatch.
No, I didn't have a chance to play that. You did though, right? Sam?
Sam played it, right?
I played it, but I didn't play it at Pax East. I played it at Pax Prime.
So, but how does it play?
It is a great game. I enjoy it more than Overwatch simply because I like third-person shooters more than first-person shooters. I also like the diversity of fighters. But
I like the art style.
And the art style is really cool. It's really fun, and I enjoy that. I don't think it has a chance next to Overwatch, and I feel kind of bad about that.
Yeah, well, at the same thing, I mean, we covered a press event for Gearbox's Battleborn, and we were very excited because it was like the first thing of its kind, and then Overwatch comes along. We're like, oh, we know.
First thing, right when I saw Overwatch, I was like, Battleborn's dead. Overwatch is gonna.
There's those moments, and I have to feel bad for the people who are actually like. The developers first off, I feel terrible for, and then just the people who have to work those booths. I mean, they know. I mean, you can see at the convention like what's gonna win, and it's like, oh man, I'm looking at Gigantic, and I'm like,
you can't beat Blizzard, you know?
Yeah,
you just can't, even if you're Gearbox.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah.
It's just such a.
There's got to be a different angle that someone It's so funny to say Gearbox is an underdog, but in this situation, sure.
Well, against Blizzard, yeah.
But there's got to be an angle, and I think for Gearbox, what they should play is the narrative angle, because obviously Borderlands and stuff comes from like a comedic background and things like that. So hopefully their characters are more charismatic.
And there is, with Bloodborne, there is a whole narrative to it, which is nice. I don't think we're going to get that with Overwatch. So.
Well, the way that Aaron Lindy explained it to me, he's so passionate about it, and I don't know. I don't have the same information about Overwatch that I do.
At the same time, that might be why Bloodborne fails. Kids are just
Battleborn?
Like, Battleborn.
Battleborn, Bloodborne, Battletoads, Battle Cry.
In the actual interviews, we were calling it Bloodborne while we were talking to the developers.
Yeah, it was. And then 2 weeks later, we went to the Sony Fall event, and we were like...
calling Bloodborne Battleborn.
Yeah, it was a mess. But
Francois, what did you play?
I forgot Francois was even here.
I was playing. Well, I started playing Codenames Team, and that had, I guess, a semi-presence at the Nintendo booth. And I'm not a big fan of it so far, only because there's so many better turn-based strategy games out there right now, and I don't know. I think they could have done a little bit, especially with a game they pushed so much.
They did. Well, they pushed it a lot because they were, amiibo support, even though it's minimal.
I don't know. I guess, they have their new IP now. So.
I'm going to hurt so many people like with this one sentence, and I'm sorry.
I'm sure it's nothing worse than what we've ever said.
It's going to hurt you,
Will
Francois.
It hurt me sitting here? Okay.
Well, that means it's not going to hurt me.
Okay. I'm going to not sugarcoat what I said at first, but I'll have a statement afterwards. I'll make it a little bit better. Amiibos are dumb.
Yeah.
What the hell?
I'm on your team. Both these guys have like 500 Amiibos.
Okay,
they pre-order them. They
explain yourself. Why?
Okay, so I'm not gonna. So the reason I think Amiibos are dumb is I think that they would be way cooler if they were just collectible figurines. I think that
that's actually what they use them for.
But yeah, they could double up as that.
It's cool if they're just collectible figurines. That's sweet. I don't care about their function in any of my games because like the function's so dumb. Like the Smash Brothers thing where it like learns to fight against you. I'm
Sam,
why can't the computer just do that?
The computer already does that.
Why do I have to have a toy?
Like gently teaching my amiibo how to
people in
beat
their
me.
20s are not their demographic for these amiibos. Like they're targeted at kids.
I think they are. Everybody I know is like 35 with like a closet of amiibos. Like,
yeah, well, I don't take mine out of the packaging.
And also, on top of that, so on top of my sentiment about amiibos, they don't even make the cool amiibos like the most available. Like everybody wants Rosalina everybody wants
Well, they're
Mega
doing that on
Man.
purpose. They're creating demand.
You go like there's literally these pictures on Twitter.
We talked about this last.
We had
last
2
time.
podcasts ago. We
I
talked
don't think
about.
they're creating the demand. I think that just nobody wants Luigi. Like, can we just?
I think
you secretly
we're not the target.
I think you secretly collect amiibos and you're mad that you can't
I
find
just see
Rosalina.
I see these pictures on Twitter of people going to the store and they're like,
Francois?
and it's like 100 Marios, and then just like the tag with like, whichever one underneath it. Oh, no Rosalina.
Okay, Francois, you're boiling right now. Go ahead.
It's okay.
Whatever.
You can talk, Francois.
I just in the amiibo defense, and again, I don't use it for the functionality either, but the potential is always there because they keep opening up different games with different functionalities from them, right? They just started working with Kirby. Mario Party 10 is going to use them too, so they're not stuck to doing what they're doing right now.
I'm a little curious as to see what they'll be doing with it with Mario Party 10, but not curious enough.
I think it's a little crappy that they're releasing, new Marios and stuff for specific games. So like amiibos are exclusive to specific titles. I think that's like a little.
Some characters, like if you have so this is what I was told.
I don't want to talk about amiibos too much longer either.
Sure,
because
sure.
we
We
already
always
have
talk about amiibos. We spend 20 minutes every podcast talking about amiibos.
Okay. So we'll stop talking about amiibos.
Unless
Only
hold on.
because Francois is literally the amiibo collector
Do you
and
have
he's a dealer.
Do you have every amiibo?
Yes.
He has every amiibo. He had gold Marios on pre-order. He's
See, but that's we'll talk about this one more time. That's a collector's mentality. He's not getting it so he can like sit at home and play against Gold Mario and Smash.
I feel like that's like his dirty little secret. Like
No, he doesn't
Francois
open
sits
them.
at home in his underwear. Oh, he hasn't opened them.
he doesn't open.
I was like, Francois sits at home in his underwear just training his amiibos, and he's like,
When we
I'm
first-
gonna
too
be
far
the
from the
number
truth.
one amiibo trainer.
When we first met him, he would talk to them like while we were on Xbox chat. He'd be like, "Luigi, come here.
Give me a glass of water.
Touch my shoes.
I'm really thirsty. Princess, go make me mac and
Peach,
cheese."
she looks
All
so
right,
pretty
so
today.
getting back on track, Codename Steam was there, and also Splatoon. I didn't
Guys.
get a chance to play.
Francois, to the mic.
Wait, guys,
Wanna take that call?
CVS has called me 20 times to confirm.
Or actually, it's probably
No,
not,
we'll
or it's
just-
might be
no.
pharmaceutical
It's-
or something medical.
To continue, please press 1.
Press 1.
Press 1.
It's on machine.
Let's play with this one.
Hello,
Hi.
CVS Pharmacy. Our records indicate it's time for
Is it gonna?
refill the prescription number ending in 6, 5.
I was worried that
This
it
could
was.
be awkward. It's,
Yeah, Samantha
It's-
needs to
it's-
pick up her
Pharmacy.
hemorrhoid cream.
The Amber Turnpike, Drive, New Jersey.
Why?
Okay, thanks.
Thank you,
Why?
CVS.
Do you know how many times they called me during this?
Yeah,
4
why did the
times.
machine
Don't let
call-
it bother you.
The
Put your
machine
phone
calls
down.
me like 20 times a day, and I don't know what to do.
They want you to come get more medication? Is that what?
Yeah.
Listen, okay. Francois
Yeah.
finally got to talk.
Well,
The
no,
CVS
I mean-
guy had more airtime than Francois so far.
No, it was, when you go to the doctor and you get like, I had a sinus infection.
Sure.
And he gave me a refill on nasal spray.
Okay.
And they keep calling me like,
Because they have the refill.
They
They're
have the
we want you to
refill."
come take it off our hands. We can't hold everybody's extra nasal
sprays.
spray.
No, they're
we don't have
like,
the space for it.
they're like,
Please
hey,
come in
pick
here and
this
get
up
it."
so we can make money from your insurance company.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anyway.
Yeah,
So Francois, codename Steam.
yeah. It's just I don't
No
know.
good,
I have to spend more time on it, but it's just not.
It's basically XCOM dumbed down for the 3DS.
Yeah, it looks pretty though, and I like the voiceover work.
I played Splatoon.
I played that too. What did you think of it, Sam?
I loved it.
What did you love about it?
I liked the paint with the colors.
Did you really see yourself playing that game like over and over again?
No, that's the kind of game that like you play with your cousins. Like,
It's a cousin game. It's
That's a
totally
cousin
a cousin
game.
game.
Yeah.
Cousins came over for barbecue. You're like, oh, what are we gonna? Oh, let's play Splatoon. That's. It reminded me of a
It's
cereal
totally-
box game.
It
Hey,
totally
yeah.
was a cousin game.
We need
yeah.
some barbecue games.
Yeah.
we need
No,
cousin
true.
games
Yes,
out
you
there.
do need barbecue games.
There needs to be cousin
Yeah.
games. You know what? It's just one of those games. People are gonna buy it for their kids, and it's gonna do well, and it'll be fun. You know,
I'm
when you're
confused.
bored and you have people you don't know around.
That game makes me confused. It makes me wonder what are they targeting? Like, I don't know. This is Nintendo's first shooter ever for the most part,
Now we,
and
we need to
It looks
see-
like Plants vs Zombies to me, kind
but
of.
not as
Not
fun.
really.
Not as fun.
I
If
didn't
they-
think Plants
if
vs
they
Zombies was that
remade
fun.
that
But
game, but as like a Gears of War mod where you have to paint the level with blood. You kill the person and the blood explodes everywhere, and it's whoever has the most blood covered on the map. That's be pretty good.
Greg, I think you're just a violent adolescent boy.
It just sounds more fun to me.
I don't know. The game was fun. Like, it was fun. It was cool having a different objective than just like shoot the other person. But I mean, the object of the game was to cover the highest percentage of the map with your color of paint, right?
That's exactly what the objective is. It's fun, and you can kill the other players.
It's cool, and I really like how Nintendo does their thing where they like look at the core of games. Like, they don't really care. Not that they don't care, but essentially they look at the theory of their game and like what it's new at its core, its elements, right?
What?
Like the core of games, like the core of
what?
Like the fundamentals of that game is smart.
Sure. It's
What?
fundamentally just a shooter, but then it's skinned by this.
Right. So
Okay, I'm gonna translate for everybody out there listening. That's like, what is this guy talking about?
all right, go ahead.
Okay, he's basically saying like Nintendo does a really good job at looking at shooters and is like, what makes this game fun? And let's just take its basic levels of fun and turn it into a game. Right? Is that what you're saying? You're basically
that was
like,
way better.
John, while she was talking, you should have went, what?
I know
What?
that was too easy.
Missed the...
like, it's pretty much, they're like, what are people's favorite parts about,
Well, kind of. What I'm trying to say is basically with games like Kirby that Francois just played and Tipping Stars and the core elements of their gameplay are the things that they usually worry about the most. Like, they don't care as much about aesthetic or online play or things like that. What they care about is like how the person interacts with their game. You don't agree with me?
Nope.
Why?
Oh,
I
fun. We've
think-
never had this happen on a podcast.
A fight. No, I think that that's not true. I think that first and foremost, Nintendo cares about aesthetics of their games. I think that's like their number one concern.
Well,
is,
maybe
does it look Nintendo? Is it Nintendo? When people play this, do they feel like they're playing a Nintendo game? If they don't, we're not doing our job. Like, I think that's Nintendo's core is.
Well, I think familiarity for sure. I mean, I think you're right in that way, where if people can recognize that it's a brand, then it's kind of like putting characters on cereal boxes for kids. Like, they're going to be inclined to buy it, right?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I still stand by my sentiment that the core of Nintendo's games is based around, like, maybe it's 50-50, but
I think it's like, well, yeah, functional gameplay is definitely obvious and a necessary thing. You will never play a Nintendo game that is not finished and ready to play. It's always going to be functional and amazing.
Not broken.
And not broken.
Not a
It's
beta.
never going to be broken. We'll never read a broken Nintendo headline ever.
it's because they don't focus on online. They're not going to have a day one patch, really, except for their consoles, right?
No, I mean, but Nintendo, they do have online games. It's just they don't focus on diversifying online play. Like, if a Nintendo game has an online feature, it's going to just be that thing. It's not going to be anything else. Like,
Live
you can play
updates
Mario
and-
Kart online. You can play Smash Brothers online. You can play, like, there's a lot of games. You're going to be able to play Mario Party 10 probably online. And that's going to be cool, but it's just there's going to be one mode in which you play online, and it's never going to change and deviate. There's not going to be any, well, there might be.
Part of that's a really good thing, though, especially
is.
now, because a lot of people are shoving multiplayer in games that don't need it just to put multiplayer on
That's
the
been
box.
happening for a while.
Yeah.
Do you guys have a moment of silence for all the bad DLC out there?
Yeah, we do that every episode.
We
Every
should have
episode,
that.
yeah, we do.
Let's just do it real quick.
Can we? Okay,
Yeah.
ready? Go.
All right, I think that's good.
That was so short.
That
Yeah, but
There was a
really
lot.
short.
There's a
Because
lot of
disrespectful.
bad
There's
DLC.
also very good games. Very good DLC out there. No?
I mean,
Oh, there
I'm
definitely is. I know. Was it Minerva's Den?
Minerva's Den's my favorite, obviously.
all of the Fallout for me. All the Fallout DLC.
Yeah, but this is years ago.
Is
now we're talking
anybody
about.
playing? This is like totally. I'm having an ADD moment. Is anybody playing Final Fantasy 14 or no?
No.
Probably not.
I'm
no.
not either, but the new expansion is coming out, and I'm actually a huge Final Fantasy fan. And I bought that game when it was like really broken when it first came out, like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And then they had to like scrap the whole thing because they spent way too much time on textures.
Was that what Dave was playing? Was Dave playing 14?
14
11.
is
Oh, 11.
yeah, 11 people like still play, I think. Or they've recently shut down the servers. I don't know what the deal is, but 11 was played for like easily 10 years. Final Fantasy 14 came out a couple years ago, and it was so their problem is they pay so much attention to detail and like graphics. The game literally could not run properly. There was so much graphical detail that like the best computers
Or you
couldn't
could play on
run the
computer?
game. Yeah, it was PC. It was only PC at the time. And yeah, I remember my friend just had like the best graphics card that you could have at that time, and it was not working. And we were just like, ah! And so I rage quit that game. I actually like broke the disc. I was so angry.
Really?
I physically broke the disc.
Jeez.
I was like just
like broken controllers and stuff before over things. I've never done that.
I haven't done that in a while. When I was younger,
I've never done it.
I recall breaking a Super Nintendo controller playing Home Alone 2.
That game was the best.
Man, it was really hard though.
Well, there were
it was aggravating.
It was definitely a hard game, but I just remember thinking it was so cool that I was playing a game inside of a house.
Yeah,
it was like I was in a house playing a game that was set inside of a house. Houseception.
That is houseception right there.
So you broke the SNES controller,
and I also think I beat my little sister up once.
What?
Because she made fun of me when I was like 8 years old, but I recall playing Home Alone and her giving me a hard time and like resetting the game a lot, and that's the only game I recall getting really frustrated with for some reason is Home Alone 2.
Well, back on just Final Fantasy and me breaking that disc, they remade the game and it came out as Realm Reborn, and now it has a very large player base. And the expansion is coming out this week.
If it sucks, you're gonna break the disc again?
Well, I'm not playing it right now, but I was gonna ask you guys if you were, because we could play together.
It's hard to a game like that is very time consuming.
You have to commit.
We're just talking to you on the way here, and you said you don't have time to play any other games, and you're gonna start an MMO.
I know. I need a reality check.
Mm-hmm.
I love the ideas of getting to MMOs. And back in the day when we used to play World of Warcraft and stuff like that, I always think about those days and I always want to sign back up and play it. But I know that when I do, I'll be done in a month because I just won't be able to fit it into my schedule, And
then it's 2 months before you cancel.
Even right now, playing Dragon Age, like I'll be at work like, fuck, I got to get home and inspect my guys out. I got to get in there. I got to keep finding stuff like... and that's a world that will end one day. But like an MMO that just goes on forever, I don't know if I have space for it in my life right now.
It's really intimidating.
It is. It's like so much fun. I mean, I've had
overwhelming
so much fun playing MMOs, but I don't know if I can throw myself.
Just play Destiny, the best MMO ever.
Destiny has its goods and bads. I mean, it's so hard for us because we'll talk shit about it, but if you look at our playtime, we all have like 450 hours invested in that game. So
it's a good game. I like it.
Yeah,
it's not an MMO, right?
No. Traditional. Well, that's like the whole. Like I feel like for a while, a lot of companies were using MMO as almost like a buzzword on top of their game.
Well, it's like now how people are using MOBA as a buzzword for their game until WildStar happened, and they're like, Blizzard was like, Heroes of the Storm isn't a MOBA.
Wait, did you say WildStar?
Yeah.
They were calling WildStar a MOBA?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, really?
I thought so.
An MMO?
MOBA.
I don't think WildStar was a MOBA.
It wasn't a MOBA?
No, it wasn't. But I could see people being upset if they were calling it a MOBA because it definitely wasn't.
Oh, sorry. I meant, oh my God. I didn't mean WildStar. I meant, what's that? It was not... Oh my God! The
I
other
know
MOBA,
you're talking
the MOBA,
about.
the MOBA that came out. It had all the DC and
that failed though, didn't it?
Yeah, it failed terribly. What was the name of that game?
You said it was something with justice in the title.
No,
DC Universe.
No,
it wasn't DC Universe.
No,
I don't know.
It was 2 words and it was corny as fuck. It was like.
Oh man, I actually have to look this up. You edit these, right?
Sometimes we do. We can edit stuff out, so we'll probably leave this in though, just because.
Hold on.
It'll be hilarious.
It's like a DC MOBA. What the hell was the name of that game? Infinite Crisis.
There you go.
I'm sorry.
You made up for it.
I made up for it. Like Infinite Crisis came out and it was like the Dominion map in League of Legends, but with,
It was like an obvious rehash of someone else's shit.
Yeah. And it was just really bad. But I think that every game that's come out as a MOBA since the success of League of Legends has been doomed.
Right.
And so
it's hard to pull up behind that. That's what everyone.
So in the same vein that you were saying, MMO became like this buzzword, like, ooh, an MMO. Well, now it's like MOBAs. Right, yeah. And what's happening is like these MOBAs aren't working out. So I think it was really funny that Heroes of the Storm, which looks like a MOBA to me and feels like a MOBA to me, isn't a MOBA according to Blizzard.
And that's what they're saying. They're
like it's not a MOBA, but come on.
Right.
Come on.
But then who's right at that point? Like, of course, Blizzard's going to go and do their own thing and try to at least say they are, right?
Yeah. I just don't think
Well, if
they
it's
want
not a
the
MOBA, what is it?
They don't want the
Well, that's the
MOBA
thing.
for it.
Do they have their
These
own?
industry terms, they get their these things get their monikers and they're stuck with them. Same thing for roguelike. Same thing for we're playing Ori and the Blind Forest right now. It's a Metroidvania. Like you just get those stigmatic monikers that are stuck.
Typecasted.
Yeah.
Games get typecasted, I guess.
Would you say they're not calling it a MOBA because they don't want to get they don't want to look at League as competition?
Or get like associated with these
Could
games.
be.
There's an article actually called Blizzard explains why it doesn't call Heroes of the Storm a MOBA.
Yeah. So.
And the quote is, action real-time strategy didn't make a lot of sense for this game.
Action real-time strategy. What are those? What's the acronym for that? Action ARTS. I don't know. It'll be another name for that too. And the next thing will get another name. And the next thing will get another name.
So what's our next topic, guys?
Well, it was basically we're trying to keep it PAX oriented, but
okay. Well, if we need more PAX topics, can we talk about the Aces party?
well,
we
we didn't. We
can.
went to the PC Gamer party.
That's what
Same
that
thing.
is.
That was
Oh.
the Aces party. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I don't know what we want to talk about. A lot of that
What?
might be censored. Might see it on Craig's
I could
video.
talk about my my story on how I got into the party.
That's a good story.
That's a
think
good
it's a pretty
story.
good story.
Yeah, that's a good one. But Greg made a video of a lot of our weekend that's not including games, so
It
we'll
was
put that up on
mostly
the site.
not game stuff, but it's still interesting to watch, I guess, if you
All right,
want
so-
to know what we look like.
So Friday during the day,
Oh, so Friday during the day, that was the first day we were there, and like I was telling you guys before, I was
Hit the bar.
drinking a lot the whole day. That's what was getting me through the day. And we wound up at some bar in the it was in the hotel that was connected to the convention center. And I was drinking. We were with some new friends that we met up with. I don't know, Francois, do you know? I forget their names. I don't even know.
we were with Victor.
Victor, but Victor's two friends also. I forget her name.
Victor's friends.
Anyway,
Yep.
we're drinking, and I'm leaning up on the bar, and the guy next to I was on the bar was this guy named Jacob. He was the head of YouTube marketing at Machinima, and somehow he gets into our conversation, and me and him kind of start
Flirting.
No, not flirting. Actually, the exact opposite.
It's pretty much flirting.
Whatever. We're a little bit arguing with each other about stuff, and he was giving me shit, and I was giving him shit. And
AKA flirting.
yeah, and he had all of these. He was giving out Witcher. For The Witcher 3, he was giving out
Lanyards.
demos or whatever.
Oh, cool.
And he was giving them out to everyone but me. So
Flirting.
yeah, right. So we're all done there, and we leave, and he was kind of like being a dick. Whatever, we leave, and I was mad about the whole thing because I think he said something about my blazer, and it pissed me off. But I was also drunk, so. Later that night, me and my friend Mike were waiting on the line to get into the Aces party, and it was freezing, and they stopped letting people in. And I looked over, and I see Jacob coming out of the party. And I look over, and he sees me, and he looks at me, and he points at me, and he goes, "You, come here, come here." And I was like, what the fuck is about to happen? And so me and Mike walked up to him, and he goes up to the bouncer and goes, "These two guys are with me. You got to let them through right now. Let them through." He was drunk too. So he's like dragging us through, brings us up to the VIP bracelet area and goes, "These guys, they work for Machinima. They're our last two guys of the night. Give them bracelets." And then he said, I'm going home. I'm going to bed. And he left, and he gave us bracelets, and we got in.
Definitely flirting.
I guess so.
And
I think that he probably just felt bad that he was mean to you in the beginning and then gave you...
See, that's a really nice way to look at it. I think it was one last fuck you, I'm better than you.
And that's what I think it was, because
Ooh,
that's
it
what we were
could've
kind of. I think the
been.
girl with me said you guys were alphaing out. I think that was her words. And I, as happy
like
as
the
I am-
alpha male?
Yeah,
like who
yeah.
was the alpha male in the
Right,
situation?
right.
I think that you guys just need to hug it out
Well,
and
I
then go
was-
on a bro date.
I don't. Yes, he was probably showing me that he,
Yeah, but he has no idea who you are.
Right, yeah, no,
I
I know, but I was still really happy about it. I don't care if he was trying to be better than me or whatever. It was fun. We had free drinks all night. so.
Well, the story will always end with another man gave you permission to do something, and that's it.
You win.
I was gonna get in the party no matter what. It was just nice that he would.
I'm just kidding, but the party turned out to be a banger. It was fun.
Never mind. I was gonna just go off on how I was gonna be like, guys, I don't know why is it so hard for everyone to get into these parties?
Right, well.
And then
Yeah, it seems obvious why.
But But it was the party was fun.
What? Let me tell you a story. So like a lot of it is also like how you act, I think. Like so I went to E3 last summer and I went with Shaq News and I got to go to the Sony conference and also Microsoft. And for Sony, it was pretty strict getting in. I didn't realize that you needed a badge to walk in. And I actually just walked in. And I remember like, I got in and then I went to a food truck and my boss just like ran up to me and he was like, I can't believe you just walked in. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And he's like,
they let the pretty girls walk.
You just walked right through. Yeah. And I was like, and he's like, the confidence, I like it. Keep doing that.
That's the thing, though. At these, and then we learned this last year at PAX, and this is why I wear a blazer to PAX. I know it sounds silly, but if you look like you're supposed to be someplace and you look like you know what's going on, most people won't even stop you or ask you.
That's exactly what it is. And I hate to say this, it's the truth.
Yeah.
There are so many like grimy nerds just trying to.
That's why we try to dress nice when we go to these events because it kind of helps us. You know,
it definitely
separates
helps
you from the herd.
Separates us from that.
They're gonna give you less of a hard time. There's gonna be that like guy with like the swamp ass and the dad sneakers trying to get into the party, and they're gonna give. And it doesn't matter who he works for. Yeah, he's gonna be wearing his New Balances, and he's gonna stank. And like he could be somebody, but they're not. They're gonna give him a hard time over the guy in the blazer.
It's funny when they are somebody because a lot of the game devs are kind of like that guy you're talking about.
Well, I mean, I'm just being real. When I'm on an escalator and I'm like tasting your ass, like I really, no, take a shower. Take a shower.
Do we have any snacks this week?
Oh,
that made you think of snacks?
Speaking of,
Francois here is tasting ass. He goes straight for the snacks. Right. Hang on a second. I think we'll just do one of them. We'll just do the plum.
Oh,
Greg, graciously. Well, you have to make sure we put our Brady Bunch song here at some point.
Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna find some like cool Polish music.
Okay.
Oh,
it's
like
Polish.
That.
Yeah, last time I think we called it Russian.
Well, we said Polish or Russian. We didn't know. Now
right.
I know for sure that it is Polish.
Okay, well, first off, I want to say, Cameron, I'm sorry, I forgot your high chews. We'll do those next time. However, everybody here seems to have heard and had plenty of high chews before.
We could just pretend we had them.
Yeah, I could tell you about high chews right now. They will fuck your teeth up terribly.
They're tasty also. They taste kind of like juice.
Cameron, they were great. Yeah, they were so good.
They're good to suck on, maybe. If you suck on a high chew for a long time,
that's what she said.
Does it become a Starburst eventually, where you can just?
I feel like they're softer than Starburst.
No, I think they're harder.
No? Their consistency.
No, maybe I just have a strong jaw.
Yeah. Okay.
Then Starburst would be like chewing gum to you.
The origins of this new snack we're having.
So the snack that we're eating now is called.
Yeah. Good luck.
It's called the Sluka Nalakajowska.
Very good.
That might be the brand or whatever. I'm not sure, but it is plum in chocolate. And the boxes, it's got a nice blue gradient and red hearts all over it.
Oh, it must be good.
For love.
Yeah, for love. It actually comes in this nice golden tray.
A golden tray.
And the first thing I noticed about this when I opened it before was how large they are.
Oh.
They're like this.
So wait, are these
so unappetizing, the size of the candy. It's like the size of a, what would this be? Like a...
It's like the size of like a dried fig or something.
Yes, it's like the size of a dried fig.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, so everybody at home, get your dried figs out. Make sure for
like,
reference.
It really is like a dried fig or like a prune. It's
prune,
like,
prune sized, yeah. So what it is it's like a plum filling with a chocolate on the outside. I'm going to pass it around. I had one earlier, so I'll let everyone know that.
I hate plums. I don't even want one.
You have to have
Are you
one,
allergic
John.
to plums?
No, I just really have a distaste for them.
You have to have it, John. You just hang on to the wrapper.
Just
if you want to spit it out.
Don't chew into the microphone.
I think everybody at the same time should chew into the mic.
This feels so weird.
It says sluka?
Slivka. That sounds very Polish. I think I nailed it. Slivka.
That doesn't sound Polish.
That sounds Russian.
Yeah, that doesn't sound Russian either.
What's it sound like?
I don't know.
Like nothing?
Like
it
nothing.
does seem a little bulbous, like a little
sluka.
Bulbous.
I think it would be pronounced sluka.
Sluka.
I don't know.
Sluka.
I imagine that means plum though.
I think it's all right.
I'm trying it right now.
All right, guys. Are we all taking a bite at the same time?
Let's go for it.
Okay.
My first opinion is I don't like the chocolate.
See, my problem is,
It's a prune inside.
well, it was a plum, but it looks prunish. My problem is I don't know plums well enough to associate this flavor with a plum.
Not a plum guy.
Prunes are plums.
Oh, like a dried out plum.
Yeah. Prunes
John,
are-
you didn't finish your
Prunes
piece.
are dried plums.
I'm not going to finish that.
Pretty much we're eating chocolate covered prunes.
We're eating chocolate-covered prunes.
Milk chocolate.
So where are
That's
your,
definitely a prune in
So
the
where are
middle.
all of our New Balance sneakers and our old man shit? We're eating prunes covered in chocolate.
We are eating... This is like poop ready to happen.
Would you eat
Yeah, it
this
is.
at PAX?
This is like it's already digested.
It's gross. I don't want
It
this
is.
thing
And well,
anymore.
it's like chocolate and prunes.
Yeah.
Like what? Together?
So our rating system here is 1 to 3. So this way,
This is a 1.
I'm gonna. Here's what I'll say.
nobody finished theirs. So what do you think?
The one thing I do like about it is the gold tray they come in.
You could reuse that.
I'm gonna keep that gold tray. I'm gonna make a lasagna in it. Good to go.
It will melt in the oven.
I know. I was just kidding.
You're not allowed. Greg, don't kid around.
I give it a 1 because it's just weird.
Yeah.
It's just weird. Like, nobody wants to eat prunes. You know, like you eat prunes when you're old.
For
and you're
medicinal
having,
reasons.
Like, continence issues. Like,
Yeah.
you know, you need your fiber.
Well, maybe that's
Then you
the
get a
point.
prune.
Maybe it's like an easier way to eat your plum.
Yeah,
stuff.
but you'd figure
Yeah,
that
but
the
they're like,
packaging
and they're
would be...
also like really sugary. It's like sugared prunes. So
I can't
yuck.
imagine eating more than one of these. So maybe that's why they come individually wrapped. You know, you're supposed to just eat one
A week.
because that's really strong shit right there.
They're not good.
No.
If one is the lowest I can give it, it'll be a 1.
Gonna have to go with the one also, guys.
Yeah, I think my grandmother might like these though.
We can take the rest. I can leave it in that gold packaging and I can wrap it up and send it right to your grandma.
Yeah, she might like them.
Perfect. Francois, do you have a rating?
Yeah. I'll give it a 1. You know.
So
Just
one's
weird.
down the line. I guess I'm gonna have to contact Sluika Nella Kazowska with my
So Cameron, we're
My
sorry
rating
we didn't
here.
try yours that you sent.
Cameron. Thank you for sending those. Hi, choose.
We already know what they taste like.
Yeah, but what we'll do though is on the next podcast we'll try to do the whole podcast eating high chews the entire time.
Yeah, that'll be really,
We'll just be like,
really good.
All right, that was
So real
Even
quick,
candy.
Greg,
Yeah.
you did something cool last week. When we were leaving PAX, you said, what was it?
what did I do?
Pits and Peaks
Oh, I did
of PAX, and that's how we'll wrap up
you
this
know
week.
who else used to do, who does the pits and the peaks?
Oh, you stole it,
The
Greg?
Kardashians.
Oh, do they?
That used
You
to
know
be
what's
their
really
thing.
funny about this? I got Pits and Peaks from my sister.
And your
and my
sister, definitely
likes the Kardashians.
Oh, well, she definitely got Pits and Peaks from the Kardashians
Yeah.
because that used to be a part of their episodes in the first couple seasons.
Wow.
That was a guilty pleasure of mine.
Let's rename
But
it.
no. Let's do
Highs
Pit-
and
I
lows.
actually really like the idea behind Pits and Peaks, and I like doing it for my days. So it's let's do it.
Okay, so let's start.
I'm Kim.
We'll start with John and work our way over to Kim.
Well, I think the word Kim.
Well, no,
She's saying
like if
the
we had to be the
Kardashian.
sisters, like
Oh,
he,
wait,
would
John?
he would be Chloe.
Yeah, I want to be Cole. Is
Who's
that
that?
Cole? Is that one? of them?
Courtney.
Courtney. Oh, Courtney. I'll be
Is it
Chloe.
Chloe?
No, you're
Chloe.
thinking Chloe.
Chloe,
You
yeah.
want to be Chloe because she's
Yeah,
the
yeah.
funny one.
Yeah, I guess I'll be that one.
Okay, so you're
Oh
Chloe.
wait, no. What's like the one that's like?
I thought Chloe was the ugly one.
No, which
Yeah,
is the one
she
that
is.
she's like?
But
Thanks
she's
for
not that
calling me
ugly.
Chloe
Which
right
is like
away
the,
then.
the sexy one, but she's not Kim. or
Courtney.
Courtney. I want to be her.
Okay, so you'll be Courtney.
Yeah.
You'll be Chloe, unless you're uncomfortable with that.
I don't know.
You
I
can't
don't
be
care.
Kim though, because I'm Kim.
Okay, can I be Kanye?
Okay.
I'll be Greg. You should be Kanye.
No, I don't want to be
Kanye
Kanye.
is not a Kardashian sister though. Who's Francois?
Yeah, but there's 4 of them. How many?
Can
How
Can
many?
you be mom? Can you be Kris Jenner?
No. Francois is Bruce Jenner.
No, Francois is definitely not Bruce Jenner.
Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Well, he
Fatherly.
doesn't know why not, but there's very good reasons.
Yeah.
Pax East had highs and lows, pits and peaks, right? Mine was the worst part was the pit was the pizza we had in Boston.
Oh my God.
It was the pizza we had in
The
Boston just to
worst
fill our
Don't
stomachs after a hangover.
trust pizza outside of New York. How many times do we have to tell you?
Okay, so this is what happened. We were gonna go to another place, and Greg was like, "You know what? Let's just go here
The
real
sign
quick."
said best pizza in Boston.
Which
in
is very
Boston is
I
the key
know,
word.
but I was hoping that it would be at least just like a step below the New York pizza. It turns out it wasn't even pizza. It was like
disgusting.
rubbery, tasteless garbage.
And
Very bad.
what was my peak was the guy on the line for the video panel. I can't even do it over.
It sucks. It's hard to show people.
Yeah, you can't.
We were standing in line waiting to go into this video panel, and this guy like runs over and does like this like slide stop.
And he had Tom Cruise hair, so it was like fluffing out. He's like really.
And he's like, which way is the?
He's like, which way to room, whatever. And the woman is like upstairs. He's like, all right, I hit the stairs.
Yeah, I'll hit the stairs.
And I listen. I concede that I know that that's not as funny as it was in real life. But
I think it was funny just because it was kind of it got quiet for a second. Like
Yeah.
there's like 1,000 people in this room, and it just gets quiet all of a sudden.
But it was, oh my God, the way he said it. All right, I hit the stairs. Like he could have just said, thank you.
Yeah.
He was like, all right.
Yeah.
And that was it for me.
That was good.
People must be like, wow, PAX sucks.
What was yours, Francois?
Wait. So
Your pit and your peak. Pit
my
first.
Pit. Well, my pit would probably be when I bought everyone donuts in the hotel, and then I woke up the next morning and they were on the floor. Why were they on the floor?
I told you, Francois.
I yelled at John for that.
foul.
I yelled at John. I said, John, you better pick those donuts up. He's like, fuck the donuts. I don't care. He was drunk.
I did not say that.
Thankfully, you didn't pick them up, because if they were in the box still, I probably would have eaten one.
When we got back, yeah.
So it's a good thing I saw it on the floor.
Good, I did you a favor.
That's sad. Let's have a moment of silence for those donuts.
Make it a little bit longer than the DLC moment, just because the donuts are obviously a little bit more important.
I paid money for those donuts.
And then you did the same thing with chicken nuggets. It's just Francois kept disappearing and leaving gifts. It was weird. Santa Claus for the game.
My
So-
thinking
What was your peak?
my peak? My peak was hanging out with my best friends,
Yeah.
Aw.
All right.
I don't know. I just playing some games, hanging out with people. I guess that overall was fun.
My pit of the event was not having cell phone service on the floor.
So that's like the whole weekend.
I had like no reception, and I was actually there. Without giving too much away, I was basically there doing some work, and I was seriously impeded by the fact that I did not have service. And anytime I needed to communicate with anybody, I needed to leave the convention center, go outside, and come back in. It was just terrible. So that was easily my pit, very easily my pit.
The whole time you feel like you're disconnected from the outside world?
It's not even like I don't need to be connected. I don't need to be plugged in all the time. It wasn't for me. It was for like a brand that I'm working for. So I was like, well, this is fun, you know, having to explain this all weekend.
And the peak?
The peak was probably I'm going to have to go with the Twitch party. I went to the Twitch party. Now, in the past, Twitch has had a history of getting kind of crazy, but this was really just a networking opportunity for people. And I was invited by the head of PR, and he gave me a much different experience. It wasn't just like a party. It was really I met a lot of like the top streamers and a lot of friends that I have that are streamers as well, and were there. And it was really fun getting to be with them in that environment. And it was cool because I'm a streamer, and it was, I got to meet a lot of people who wanted to stream with me, which was crazy.
Oh, that's always the best part of PAX, just meeting
people,
like-minded people.
Meeting like-minded people, but just seeing, I think it was just so cool seeing like where Twitch is going. You could really tell from like that event that they had that they're doing really well. Cool. And it was cool to be there.
Greg?
My pit was Munchkin Panic.
Oh my God!
On Saturday
we didn't
morning.
talk about that,
donuts
Josh.
again?
No. Was it Sunday morning?
Yeah.
Sunday morning, we are all hungover and a mess, and we decided we wanted to just go sit and hang out by the board game area. Some people out there who play tabletop games will know of the game Munchkin, and they'll know of the game Castle Panic, but they made a game together called Munchkin Panic. So we decided to sit down and learn how to play the game. So we sit there, and the woman they give us to teach us how to play the game doesn't know how to play the game, and she's literally reading verbatim from the instructions.
It was rough.
And it was, and I was correcting her on the rules of the game the whole time because she didn't know the rules of the previous. And all I wanted to do was fucking get out of there because I was hungover. This was just a waste of time. So I casually got up from the table and I took a couple steps away, and
pretended to be on his cell phone.
I pretended to be on my phone. Our friend Josh wasn't there. So I walk back over to the table and I sit down and I go, guys, that was Josh. He's throwing up blood. I don't know. I don't know why, of all things to say, that's what I came up with.
And we all kind of ignored
And it was
him.
funny. Nobody cared. We sat there and finished the game.
And so the woman who was teaching the game must have thought like their friend's throwing up blood and they're not doing anything about it. But in the same token, it's just like, why would Josh call us if he was throwing up blood?
Guys, puking up blood. I don't know what to do.
I only thought of you to help me. Can you please come help me?
Yeah.
That's really funny.
And my peak is probably just that whole story I just told about getting the VIP bracelet.
Yeah, that's fun.
And the whole Aces party was a lot of fun. If you watch our video on the website, you'll see how much fun.
The Aces party was a part of that. I also went to the Aces party after Twitch.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, we saw you briefly there.
Yeah, we saw you.
Actually, you don't remember talking to me,
I'm so drunk.
but I yelled at you for not coming to our podcast.
But now
Actually blowing us off.
Totally
no, I
redeemed
remember
yourself.
that. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
I didn't mean to blow you guys off.
I'm surprised
promise.
that I'm happy that you showed up.
I would come every week.
Yeah, you
I mean, I don't know how often you guys do these.
We do it bi-weekly.
So bi-weekly,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Come whenever you want.
It's not that far. That weekend was crazy. You know, just more deadlines that didn't get met. So
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
always
we'll
chasing tails.
Yeah.
let
My
you know in
own.
advance. So that was, I mean, we didn't get to a bunch of indie titles I wanted to talk about. We can do that in 2 weeks, whatever.
Real
Not a-
quick,
not a
any
big deal.
indie titles that you guys liked?
Well, we basically have a video coming out that showcases four or five of the
4 of
indies
them.
that I really liked.
those were all the ones we actually liked.
Right,
over
which
there,
was
yeah.
Death's Gambit, Nog, Deadwood, and
we talk about Divorce, also the board game.
Oh, Divorce, yeah. So we'll have that video up eventually, so you can get it there. So anyway, so this week Sam came from us. Sam, do you want to plug anything? Do you want to tell us your Twitter? Can people follow you? What can we do?
Yeah, I will plug my Twitter. If you guys want to follow me or anything that I write, make, or any of my streams, you can follow me on Twitter at XOSammyJoe. My name on there is Roselight, and that's my gamer tag.
Roselight.
Roselight.
Why Roselight?
I just thought it sounded pretty.
Well, her last name is Lightbringer.
Lighthammer.
Lighthammer.
Light. See, I confuse it with actual video game shit. Lighthammer.
Yeah, Lighthammer.
Lightbringer would be crazy.
That's pretty cool though
that
too.
would
I
be
mean,
fucking
that's
crazy.
yeah. My last name is Lighthammer.
I like that. It's a good last name.
But yeah, I'm the last paladin.
That's what it sounds like, honestly. Uther and you.
Yeah.
Blizzard.
So wait,
No.
that gamer tag, that was your Xbox gamer tag?
My Xbox gamer tag is at XOSammyJoe,
Okay.
but yeah. On League, you can find me at Roselight.
Roselight. Okay, cool.
If you want to play some games,
Yeah.
Video games, right?
video games.
All right, guys.
That's it?
Yeah, I think that's it. We ran a little long even today,
Did
I
we?
think, which is cool because
It
we have
went
more
by in a
people. So
blink.
it went by in a flash.
So much fun.
In
as
a blink.
always.
Yeah. Of course. So Greg, thanks for hanging out.
Yeah, well, we're in my apartment, so I don't really have a choice.
Yep. Sam,
I'm waiting
thank
for
you.
him to be like, get the fuck out.
He does it every week. Trust me. We have about 10 minutes left. Sam, thanks so much, Sam.
Oh, well, thank you guys.
And Francois.
I'm Francois.
I'm Francois. See you next time.
Thanks, bye.
Bye.